The power of Flame Swordsman today. We have a double insect feature, and we also have some Dinomorphia. Make sure you guys smash the like button, that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more awesome content. A Flame Swordsman deck that's not relying on a Soul, which I'm incredibly happy to see. You know, after a Soul got blown up and, you know, we had a little bit of time with the Flame Swordsman stuff to kind of cook up. I know a lot of people were kind of saddened by this. But, you know, now that you have the Flame Swordsman, you're able to basically kind of create this protect the castle scenario down here, where, you know, you're able to use the ultimate Flame Swordsman to kind of be this OTK piece to try to end the game. It's incredibly cute. Now, this build is relying on triple. Basically, you're going to stack up as much damage as you can. So you're going to have Fenrir's to be your first deployment to kind of do what you need to do. And then, of course, you're going to have Gearfried to kind of be that little hold together negate that you might need on the end of the board. And you're also going to notice we are playing triple super polymerization in here. Now, super poly is going to rely on this little board break action, in addition to maybe a situation out here where, it's just a board breaking. You're just relying on Garua and Mud Dragon to kind of clean up these pessimistic boards out here so you can do your thing. Also, funny enough, this build is playing a Change of Heart card to kind of steal and try to, once again, pressure your opponent out of playing that game. This deck is funny, in my opinion. Like, I'm surprised they're not playing something like Snatch Steal in here. But, you know, Salamander Fusion, you know, you also have the Salamander, the Flying Flame Dragon. This deck, for the way that it functions, especially, you know, you have the Flame Swordsman realm in here as well. Get your free Flame Swordsman deployed, and then just start pressuring your opponent out of the game with the big beat stick on the OTK turn. Seems pretty standard to me. To be honest with you, outside of that, you're just playing a big protect the castle, you know, get the big boss monster on the field. Your opponent doesn't do anything about it. You win the game. And if they do something about it, well, unfortunately, that's game over, and you really can't do anything about it at that point. I really wish, I mean, that's the standard era Yu-Gi-Oh! In a nutshell. We also have our first B-Trooper deck for you here. Now, the fact that we had 2 insect pile decks today, I think, is some of the craziest things that I have seen out here. And I genuinely, I gotta clap for it, man. You hardly see anybody out here exploring around with the insect good stuff piles. And I don't know why that is. You know, we just got 2 fantastic cards for this. The first one being the Supply Soldiers out here. And we also got the Heavy Cavalry out here. I mean, we did need something like the Heavy Cavalry to try to do this. And I'm glad to see that Konami is willing to make more insect support after, you know, the first initial waves weren't necessarily up to par with what I would say is acceptable. I also see this build is playing a copy of the Big Insect as well. In previous builds, I've seen the Big Insect, or at least a normal insect monster, is usually cited. We're not even doing Goki Pole stuff in here. I know we're doing 1 copy of Goki Pole. Okay. The Armed Rebellion. This deck also had the heavy board breakers in here. You have the triple Book of Eclipse, the triple Dark Ruler, and you also have the triple Droplets in here. And of course, if your opponent does anything else, I mean, hey, thrusting into the tack talents to get you that further scenario where you need to keep up that pressure on your opponent is actually really good. Also, shout out here to the Retaliating Sea. We've seen Retaliating Sea showing up quite a lot in a lot of side decks, but the fact that this deck can actually naturally play it is funny. And of course, you're kidding me, we're actually rolling out the Scary Moth against our opponent, and our opponent's just going to be sitting there looking at this going, what am I supposed to do? Well, this is the best floodgate in the whole wide world. 1 special summon per turn is usually going to be enough to end the game in your favor. So, what a hilarious action. Okay, we also have more change for you out here. Now, keep in mind that last build was 60. All right, and then of course you do see a shift in this build too. We are actually playing the shiny Black Sea Squatter. We are also playing the B-Trooper Descent down here, which I don't think I saw this on the previous build. And of course, hey, look, we are getting to play the Supply Squad, and we are getting to play the Heavy Cavalry in here. Once again, you're getting the chance to see these heavy interaction points with these new cards actually doing the thing. Even though they're really one-ofs, it's kind of cool. I also see we're playing the Praying Mantis in here. This build, the key differences between this and the other build are the other build was way more board breaker oriented. Like, the other build was relying on so many things to do the job. This build, I feel like you're shaving off a lot of that fat that was the things that kind of allowed you to win the game, like the Book of Eclipses, those Dark Rulers, all of those incredibly strong cards we don't have here. I also see we're playing one copy of the Bio Insect Armor. Oh man, you gotta be kidding me. We are actually doing this. Okay, and then of course there's your one copy of the Goki Pull, as you kind of be expecting with this. But two very, very different takes on the same deck out here. And like I said, it's already incredibly interesting to see that we have an insect deck functioning as it is, but it's also incredibly interesting to see on the opposite side of that spectrum, you know, board breakers versus no board breakers, and how two people can have success with the exact same deck. That's, I am incredibly happy to see all of this love for insects this week actually just, it's so cool to see. Congratulations to all of you. And then we also have, good old Dinomorphia. First of all, 32 trap cards. Insane, by the way. Ain't nobody gonna have fun walking into a room of 32 trap cards and expecting to get away with it. Now, I do see that this build is playing a card Demise. I feel like this is actually a really, really good choice for a deck like this. You know, Demise is going to give you that free extra little draw power, especially since you're not going to be special summoning during your turn. Like, the best thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and Therizia, do your thing. This card's going to give you, oh no, my opponent played through a large amount of my back row and kind of put me into an awkward position. This card goes, oops, hey, that's cool. Let's go ahead and get 3 more cards out of the deck so that, you know, we can get into those resources. I also see we're playing Power Sink Stone back here. We have seen a lot of hilarious things with Power Sink Stone kind of over time, but it hasn't necessarily stuck as this incredibly broken card. If anything, I think Power Sink Stone has kind of solidified itself as a very strong rogue choice for decks that, well, obviously they're rogue. They're not doing the best out here. Just being able to flip this card and steal a match is going to be really, really good. It's also not like you can't try to trigger the first ability yourself. I also see this build is playing triple copies of Mind Drain. Are we really at a situational point right now that the Mind Drain, I guess, comes up? I guess. I mean, nothing the hand can activate. So, I mean, you don't have to lose to the stupid hand traps. You don't have to lose to, you know, incredibly stupid extenders. This card's going to shut them out. And, I mean, it's one floodgate. Like, if you see multiples of these, oh, well, you know, that's kind of the situation you find yourself in. But the fact that Mind Drain is seeing play, you got the good old Power Sink Stone back here pulling this deck together. This is dinosaurs, everybody. Just good old control. Ooh, we also have some more Mimighoul for you. Now, I've been trying to follow as much of Mimighoul action as I can out here, just because I find this deck to be very, very interesting in the way that it functions right now. You know, Dominus Impulse, a lot of people just kind of walked away from this deck. They're like, oh, this deck is so incredibly terrible. You know, why would anyone actually want to play, you know, Mimighoul? Understandably so, and I respect that opinion, but I still think for a locals grinder deck, if you want to do things, obviously the Kashtira package is so incredibly good. We've talked about how good having this Fiendsmith package built into the deck is. You know, if you're underestimating how good Desiree is for clearing out games against your opponent and forcing them into these absolutely epitome of, you know, board states, this is what you need, all right? Good generic cards. And I'm glad to see, you know, this has kind of been forced out of the tier 1 decks, because it allows decks like this who need these power cards to actually be able to play them. All right, this is the problem that Norden was originally facing out here, but this is all fine. I think you have some incredibly good action working for you here. Board breakers everywhere in this deck. So, especially, you know, I love the 2/2/3 for some awkward reason in here. But you know what? These sorts of changes or these sorts of tech choices do tend to work themselves out. So that is everything that I have seen out here that I wanted to talk about today. a lot of insect action, and that's what we're here for. So please, comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.